Good morning, Mount Olive Child Study Team, guidance counselors, nurses, and some librarians. I wanted to wish you a fantastic morning this morning. Unfortunately, I can't join you. My name is Peter Hughes. I'm going to be leading some of the activities for you today. And although I can't be in two places at once, I decided to make short videos that would help guide you through your professional development this morning in your PLCs. So without further ado, I wanted to start introducing the day and the topic and give you your first assignment. While the teachers are focusing on classroom observations and their ultimate assessment in the other sessions, I wanted to make sure that you have time to review your own assessment documents. Also, I left a link to a shared document where you can post your questions and answer each other's questions as an additional resource. That's at your table. I'll check that document later in the day so that you get some feedback from me. Finally, you have the Assistant Principal of Guidance at the high school, Mr. Rob Feltman. Mr. Feltman's going to be using your system next year to evaluate the guidance counselors. So he's very knowledgeable about the system, and he's going to be a really great resource today as you're discussing and you need guidance or you need help. You're looking at the different documentation logs, you need ideas. He's a great person to bounce things off of. Also, Maureen Tremper, my assistant, is there, kind of as my eyes and ears, and she'll be able to report back to me any questions or dialogue you have. So that's the plan. Those are the overall arching goals. And I know that there was some feedback that we were focusing too much on teachers. So today is really about giving you the time to immerse yourself in your documents and specifically your needs. So that's the goal today. What I'd like for you to do right now is I'm going to give you your first assignment, which is as a PLC. I want you to look through section 1 of your handbook. It's actually an overview of the process, and I want you with your small groups to kind of look through what's similar and different to the teachers. And when you're ready, I'm unpause the video and we'll talk briefly about what I thought were some highlights, and it's going to be as brief as possible. I would like to speak as little as possible because I think you need the time to interact and to work collaboratively. So that's the plan. I hope you like it. If you don't, you're still here, so we're going to have a great day regardless, okay? Thank you, and pause the video now, go check out the packet, section 1, and we'll get together again. So if you take a look at the packet, you're going to see a number of characteristics that I hope you picked up on as a group. When you turn into the cover, you're going to see some acknowledgments, ignore it. The table of contents, it's separated into 3 sections: the introduction and process, the performance standards, and the forms and logs. I asked you to only look at part 1. Inside of part 1, you're going to see that there's a couple of things that are strikingly similar to the teachers. That is, each has a performance standard. Each of the standards is the performance standard, the performance indicators, and the performance appraisal rubric. These things are actually used to evaluate you at the end of the year, similar to the teachers. And the teachers have 7 standards, you have 7 standards. The one big difference that you're going to see between your documentation and the teachers is that they're usually evaluating individual children. You're going to be evaluating programs for the most part. And those programs are actually the thing that you look for planning with, and the assessment, the communication and collaboration, the professionalism, learner program progress. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit larger of a scale. So instead of looking at, how you're helping Jane in your nurse office, you're going to be looking at, well, how effective is the nurse's office at, administering inoculations? Or the child study team, how effective have we been at making sure that we've been able to clearly and accurately identify students? Those are the types of program changes and program goals we're going to be creating today. So that's one thing that's very different. The second thing that I hope that you realized was very similar is on page 7, the observations, documentation log, the client surveys, and the student learning program and objectives. Those are the same pieces that the teachers are evaluated with that are going to apply to you as well. You have different standards, so your observation is slightly different to mimic those standards. But in general, you have the same components. So when you look at the alignment between the training you've had and what we're going to talk about today, there's a clear connection between the two. So at this point, I'd like for you to take a minute and just go into section 2, and then I'm going to start with the standards in video number 2 for each specific